only bad things, let's be honest.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is November 19th. It is 4:08 p.m. And it's bargaining between Lake County Schools and LCEA. Yeah, for a second there, I forgot what it was. So,
It's compensation, so could you please add it on the bottom of two?
at the bottom of two.
Yeah.
D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we'll start with grievance.
okay.
You had said that you were gonna come back to us about part of that. Under this one, specifically, you were going to talk about section 7. The board and agreement shall not be committed to start in such arbitration proceedings at any ground or rely on any evidence not specifically disclosed to the party, the other party. Both parties agree that the award of the arbitration shall be final and binding.
Yeah, I have not been able to have a conversation with the school board attorney. I'll be honest with you, so.
And then the other thing is on page 3.
For monetary, the part where it says for monetary awards,
Why was it?
give me 1 second and I can pull up my notes. That's back from November 5th, I believe. The way that I understand it, it's an open-ended extension of the arbitrator's authority beyond the issuance of the final award. So it keeps it open beyond the final award. So that was part of the reasoning that I had. Direction of the school. And the current grievance already provides the clear timelines for payments and resolution. So
Where's that friendly payment?
current grievance facility provides. I'm gonna have to come back to you on that one then. Because I've yet to speak to the board attorney.
And you remember what the reason was, I didn't want, A in section 7? If I remember correctly, it was because that was already.
A in section.
Right?
We agreed on A, I'm not.
No, the blue part, you had sucked that out.
That's what you want me to check with that, that's why I haven't.
Yeah, okay. remind me why you write cross that.
Restricting the preventing either party from asserting any ground or relying on evidence not previously disclosed may unintentionally limit the flexibility and fairness of the arbitration process. So that was,
Brought forth for a different proceedings. So that's why I'm confused, because
it would limit, see, if something gets grieved, the way that when I remember having the conversation, something is grieved and it comes to a final order and something was missing as far as evidence, it can potentially benefit the grievant if you're filing the grievance or us, depending on the evidence. So if something gets finalized and it was a wrong judgment because the evidence was not brought forward, either party could be unintentionally it will be an unfair judgment.
but this is saying that it can't be brought forward without being disclosed to the other parties. It's not saying it can't be brought forth at all.
I'll bring it forward to the attorney again.
And I know that we haven't done a grievance in a while, but this contract's not about the past, it's about the present and the future. And what happens down the road in 5-10 years, and we're not at the table. It needs to be set in codified what the process is, and if it's what's being done, then it needs to be codified in there so they know what the intent was.
Okay, I understand. Making note of that. I'm gonna have to set a meeting. Article 10.
So section 1, special duties, that you would be willing to put that back in, but it needed to be reworded. So we did instructional employees assigned to lunchroom and or other supervision duties will work with administration to determine an appropriate time for a duty-free lunch. Again, if it's an expectation that they should be getting a duty-free lunch, then it should be in there.
All right, I had written language. I'm opening it up. You pretty much reworded it the same way that I had reworded it. I can tell you what I wrote. Instructional employees required to cover lunchroom and other supervision duties may collaborate with administration to establish a time for duty-free lunch. Pretty much. Yeah. Do you accept? Yeah. I'm good with that language.
Everything else we accepted, up to that section 7. It says that, your, district blueprints will be used by instructional employees as a guide in planning and teaching course content. And instructional employees will be responsible for teaching the play with the standards within the designated quarter. We crossed out within the designated quarter because one of the things that you guys kept saying last week was the flexibility, needing flexibility, and that takes away the flexibility from the teacher as well from the school.
Yeah, I think that, and that's kind of the purpose would be that we don't want something that should be taught first quarter, taught fourth quarter. That was why we kind of added that. I mean, within the quarter.
What happens if they get some, student from another school district or another state and they have to be teaching that stuff anyways because they didn't get it? They're low in that section.
Can you say more?
So what if you have a student who's been, students have transferred from either another district or, a different state, there's chances you're gonna be having to reteach some of those stuff in other quarters because
Sure,
of that.
sure. I would agree with that. I don't think this limits that though either. If I have to reteach something. I think just if I have an essential standard that was during quarter two, I just want like to be taught in quarter two. I think we could all agree that that would be the case. I don't.
My question is this way, so I was part of the essential standards writing,
Yeah,
I'm just thinking from bio, I'm not even, so is that like with the word essential standard?
yeah, and I think we have suggested, like we try to break it down because if we choose 8 to 12 standards, 12 standards is probably too many. We're gonna find out later on that that's probably too many that I can't teach throughout the entire year. And we try to chunk it out, like if we say this part of the standard or this essential standard should be taught first quarter, that would be the expectation. I don't think we're holding people to if kids don't learn it, there's gonna be anything on that. I think we've just created it with teachers too, is saying, okay, if these are the essential, when should this standard be taught? And we put it in quarter one, we put them in quarter two, and that's flexible. I think we're gonna work to see, did that work this year? If not, then we'll adjust those.
The other thing for bio, like, if you pick the essential standards, I'm not even sure every quarter we had. essential
Well,
standards.
here was the struggle. I think the struggle was to put anything in first quarter, right? Because it's like, well, how do but there should be some, otherwise I can never get to all of them, right? They all can't be third and fourth quarter, so we had to push some to first and second quarter.
If I can interrupt
How
that.
about, it says reasonable for teaching required essential standards. I mean, that gives us flexibility. Yes,
Times like we don't cover everything.
sure,
Quarter, we get to the end.
Right.
These standards haven't been met, we'll have to
Right.
days off on hurricane or pep rally schedule or other things that come up that get in the way. We might not cover all of them and need a week or two into the next quarter.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there is leeway for that. I think we're just trying to get a little bit tighter on, hey, this is, and remember, essential doesn't mean there might be, let's say 3 or 4 standards within that first unit, but what is essential? It's just one that we're looking at, right? So this is what we think all kids should learn to be able to move to that next, or I need this foundational skill to get to that next quarter, whatever that might look like. Can we say within the designated time frame? I just would like to keep us on target, on pace, and I don't want to belabor this. I mean, I don't think this is something
Yeah.
that we need to, so. I think we just use quarter language actually in the one pager that we have out for them. That's why we used that language in here. Yeah,
So-
I don't want to lose sleep over that. I mean, I just would like to keep it within that same time frame.
So change the word quarter to time frame.
Everything else is green until we get to
Page 14.
So I did look at the, language from SEIU and it's the language that I originally had was right. Because I actually copied it directly from theirs. It says, in order to promote health and safety in places of employment in Orange County School District, the union, the board agrees that a workplace safety committee shall, the union shall appoint no more than 4 representatives to each school committee. The union shall appoint no more than 2 representatives to each department safety committee. That is the, way it's written in SEIU, so that's what we've had there. I copied it, I can show you the screen, or the print. I took a screenshot of their contract.
Correct. And then we change that to. So you want 2? Or you want 3? Because I just tentatively agree with SEIU to put 3.
Okay, so it's 4 on the top, but 3 on the bottom.
Correct.
Yes.
That's why I had changed it. No, I was looking at the language. I'm looking at the TA right now on the other side and it's 3. So I didn't want to give you less than what they had. Okay,
I, for, Mr. Faulkner, who named the time frame? For the. for the
Well,
standards?
remember, I mean, it was a when we did essential standards, like, it was a collective effort. Now, when we broke it down by quarter, that might have been more of the specialists coming together, because I would think the collaborative team might designate that, like when I'm actually working with my biology teams and saying, this is what we believe is essential in quarter 1, how can we work that in? So I'm comfortable at the team level right now, and then we'll see how that
And then,
progresses.
is it essential standard?
It's really benchmarks. We use the language standard, but it does mean benchmark. So we could change, yeah. But remember, before we have standards that we go from, they have now reduced those to benchmarks. So I'd maybe be happy with standard / benchmark, just the way if it changes, we're covered. I don't know. I think everybody understands that standards are our benchmarks, or our benchmarks are our standards now, but. I think we just say standard / benchmark. I think we had to make that understanding too, when we did this, that remember, when we say the word standard, it really does mean benchmark, so.
I understand for the team, you mean the schools.
Yeah, school teams, yes.
You really don't want one teacher to change one topic in, August, and another teacher saying, I'm not gonna teach it again until.
Right.
April."
I mean, when you think of our mobility,
That's-
yeah, right, that would be, and again, we understand that somebody might be behind a week or 2 weeks based on who knows what rationale or reasoning, right? But, a little bit, right? I mean, if we all agree that this should be taught at this time, and now if people disagree, that's when we come to the table and say, oh, do we need to move something from quarter 1 to, or quarter 3 to quarter 2? I think we have that dialogue. So remember that this piece is definitely a work in progress. I don't want to put so much language in that hamstrings us for doing what's best for kids.
okay. I'll make those changes. He's
Like, I know, it's 3 weeks in a row. I'm like, good grief, I'm not on this committee. But I love it. It's good. I know, I think I have. Check. Put a big old check mark by that one.
I did. Open 11 now.
So, section 1 for leadership team, we had put monthly, but no less than quarterly, we had put that back. Patrick, do you want to talk about that?
So I mean, we are a PLC district. We talked about the importance of collaborative planning, and we told Mr. Thunder kind of hurts our heart a little bit that principals and administration wouldn't want to meet with their leadership team more frequently than once a quarter to discuss about the the way the school year is going or the needs and, importance of different things that are happening within the school. So that's why we're reposting monthly, not weekly like common planning, but I think more than once a quarter is needed to really align the vision of the school with the leadership.
And the
I don't,
wording
I,
is- The wording is.
right.
Way it can't be
Yeah.
monthly for some reason.
Yeah, and I would just say this, I think there are schools that are further along in the process, right? So they may meet, like, maybe at East Ridge Mill, they do meet monthly, right? Where somebody else that might be new, right? And as a new leader, and we're trying to get it off the ground, I think quarterly then would be acceptable. So I don't, do you see any problem with that?
No,
I-
yeah, I don't.
You want to speak to it?
I mean, no, I think, even if I was doing a quarterly meeting, I think we talked about that, the joint leadership leader to meet with the principal and say, hey, can we meet about something that came to our attention and we can, make a meeting happen if it needs to be. We don't have to wait until a couple months later to talk about something that they may have a concern with.
The language leaves the flexibility for the
Yeah.
school
I think so.
and the teachers to work together, so
Yeah.
we're okay with it.
Thank you.
I think it is it's the original language. Yeah, I think. I should have. Basically. You did agree to the, on F, on page 4, pre-planning schedules will include the amount of, oh, wait, no.
Hold on, can you, before you, on page 1, you left blue in the middle, minutes should be emailed. I had put back or made available because I wanted to keep that green. So that's okay, I just wanna make sure it's okay. Okay. Which page?
Same thing. On page 2 at the bottom, that was the original language, we just put it back. Or we just, if you put it back and I just forgot to agree.
See.
On 2C,
Because, yeah, I know that, yeah, because you took out. Essentially, we were going to request for the green.
yes, it's the same language back, so you agree to that?
The intervention, we agreed to that, you just just put the original language back in there and I forgot to agree.
So that, okay, so that's, okay.
So page 4. So when we talked about pre-planning schedules, you guys said that the lunch, self-directed planning is listed on there, so we wanted it codified and left that in that area. So it's the only thing that we put back in after our conversation for that section.
Pre-planning schedules will include the amount of individuals.
You guys do that, right? You want to be listed on your welcome back letter, that this is our schedule for the week.
Dr. Sula,
Are you talking about are we talking,
This is pre-planned.
this is pre-planning.
we're talking lunches again?
No, not lunches, just how much time will teachers have to be able to self-directed, be in their rooms, getting ready,
I mean,
leave.
Yes,
come to
all
time.
that is listed on our pre-planned agenda. We let the teachers know when they can work on their own.
But all we're asking is that it's on there, since you guys are already doing it, we wanted it codified in there.
Yeah, I just don't wanna find myself limiting a teacher, like if a principal says a schedule, but something comes up, they want, once it's written on the planning schedule, that they still have the option to say, okay, no, we changed the day. They're gonna still get their planning time and all that, but I don't wanna. My only concern basically is putting it on schedule, you're gonna eat between 11:30 and 12:30, and then something happens and changes. Correct.
Lunch and the planning time, it's usually, it's been my experience, very seldom do they say you do lunch at exactly this time on a workday. At least that's.
I don't-
Our pre-planning.
We're good if you, yeah, if the,
They do the whole day, they might do that.
we're good. We're good, we accept it. That was page 20.
back in about the athletic ticket taking, there's. like,
Okay, hold on. You put G, class size, and we had,
Oh. That was a mistake.
you're asking to add back class size and caseload? That should,
So, the concern about the class size, this was supposed to be yellow, so we can have a discussion about it.
Okay.
The concern that we're having with class sizes is we have some high schools, the high schools lost about 10% of their, staff with, because of the loss in the charter schools that were mainly elementary school. And some schools have less staff, but more students. And again, we have classes, teachers that are having 180 students on their roster. And these are for core classes
So like
too.
English teachers,
Right, this isn't
math teachers.
this isn't elective, these are core teachers. And the concern is if if those other two new, charter schools are opening up next year and more kids are gonna be going to those, and again, they're elementary and middle, what's gonna happen? Are you guys gonna be taking more staff from high school to, alleviate the staff or to alleviate the burden on just the elementary? I mean, that's not fair to the high school.
We wouldn't do that.
we wouldn't do
That's what we
that.
did this year.
No, we didn't.
No.
We based it off of the number of students in the school. That's how we always do it. It's every allocation is based on student enrollment or what we project their students to be.
But
There's one high school that was actually larger than what we projected.
But why were they? What, so I don't.
Well,
understand,
maybe
because
two.
They have more students and less staff.
Right, well, we did increase our class size. We try to get tighter to the number. So if that number is 27 or 25, we try to at least get for the entire school closer to that number. And like we talked last week, remember, it includes all those classes. So it includes your AP, your ACE.
It actually does not include AP and ACE. because
Yes, it does.
those are not- My
Well,
understanding.
right, when we do class size, they are for us. So the whole average would be for that.
That's not what you guys told us last time.
Well, okay, when we do class size, that gets printed out, so when it says 16.7, those aren't included, but if I do the whole average for the school, I take, let's say there's 1,000 students divided by 25, that would be the number of allocations.
So
Yeah,
like-
I would say this, I mean, we definitely want to take a look at, our intent is not to have 180 and 190 students for a caseload for a teacher. That isn't the intent. Just like in elementary, my elementary teachers are in the room. There are some years, even prior to this year, that if my class size is supposed to be 18, there's that one year that I have 21 third graders or I have 21 second graders because that class is large that we have to maintain that year. Then they round up and then the next year I get back to that 17 or 18.
My concern at the high school level
Yeah.
is that we have a good amount of access classes.
Sure.
Those classes are smaller.
Yeah.
Significantly smaller.
Yeah.
In most cases, and that there are outliers, right? When you're thinking about the regular class size that you're encountering on the campus. But like outliers really mess with the classroom average.
And I would say this, from our team, we argue that to this side and to our CFO on a daily basis. So I usually sit on that side and I'm saying, hey, you can't just look at, because this has 7 students, it does take the average down.
And that's not just a high school problem.
No, I know, that's elementary, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I've sat across from Miss Dwyer and Miss Dwyer has given it to me because she said, this isn't right, because my teachers are over, so we've actually had those conversations.
It just seems extra unfair because when you think about that, the like matrix funding that goes into some of those kids that are like the 254s and stuff.
Right.
But that when you're coming up with class size and stuff, even if we're gonna do things that skew class size, that we're still only counting it as if it's one.
Well, I think on paper we do, but then we do have like those real conversations and what do I need to actually make my school function and run? We do have those conversations too. And we're currently having those conversations now where we have an excessive number of students in a class.
Yeah, hiring kids need smaller settings, so I'm not saying
Right.
that's the wrong thing, I'm just saying like it really, when then you got the other end of the spectrum, I've got like world history classes that you can't squeeze an extra body in the room. You know, or we're at overage on several periods.
And I understand the class size, but what harm are we doing our kids when we are maxing class sizes to the max? When, the whole point of us voting for reduced class sizes in the beginning was because we were trying to do what was best for the students. And if we keep going to, well, keep using the excuse, well, that's what the law is, and because
Oh,
we
yeah.
are in this section, we can actually increase the class sizes. That's, how are we hurting our making more work for our teachers with less pay?
Yeah.
And not to mention, again, with the work that for the kids, because kids do better in smaller classes. When you have 40 kids, 30 to 40 kids in a class, that's tough. And I'm not just talking about core classes, this is.
No, I don't disagree with you. On what you're saying, I don't disagree. I can't put in language though that I can guarantee that it's gonna be less than a certain number.
Because we don't have the budget to support this language.
I mean, truthfully, I want to work with schools on the front end so that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? If I need an extra ELA teacher and I can take it from another space on my campus, I think we'd like to do a better job of that so we don't end up with a teacher being overloaded. So trust me, I do hear you. I am listening. I can't support the language because I don't know from year to year what it's going to look like. I think that's a little bit of that trusting that we're going to try to do the right thing, but sometimes we're going to miss. Just like my previous example about elementary, there is sometimes that class. And you know what? When somebody comes in a role, doggone it, if they're not in that class, that's the highest I already have. That's the reality of what takes place year in, year out.
I think we'll accept crossing it out, however, I think we need to having
Yeah.
discussions on what we can do
Yeah.
to make sure this says.
We've already taken that, having that conversation, like, we don't want to micromanage principals, but actually looking at when we roll out, what does your class sizes look at? How can we move some people around? But when you talk about 24, 25, 2,600 student high schools, it's very difficult to kind of see what rolls out, what kids select, what choices they have. And then also have to use what certifications do my teachers have? Because I don't want to have somebody lose their job because they're hired in social studies, but I need an English teacher. I don't want to. So there's a lot that goes into it. I want to just respect master schedulers. It is very difficult. And I guarantee we miss on some occasions. Do you agree?
Well, I don't miss.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think you need a shh.
Yeah, I'll just be.
No, it doesn't solve the problem. So, I mean, even if you get an extra allocation,
Right.
you might solve English, but then science is still overloaded, or
Right.
social studies is overloaded. So unless you were to get 4, which would blow the budget all to pieces, that's not realistic. So that's that's the real challenge.
Especially in high school.
Yes.
All gonna have the same issues. I mean, I know elementary, you have different grade levels. Some certifications only go to 3rd grade. So if you are over in 3rd and 4th grade, what are you gonna do? Like, I mean, it's the same thing. You're gonna need 2 teachers.
I mean, just to compound the issue, we don't want to reduce the number of electives either, but that would give an allocation back. So there are certain things that we need to look at on the front end.
But when you reduce electives, then you're still bringing up the numbers.
You could, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. How many do I have on planning? How many do I have on core? Right? But I'm saying even some of the electives, when it comes to AP, some of our AP classrooms are lower because they don't have as many students wanting to take those programs. So that puts pressure on leaders to say, what do I still want to offer the best education for my kids? But also that's going to overwhelm some of the teachers I currently have. So
Okay,
thank you for listening.
the next thing is Did you, the two that you had crossed out?
So-
On page 5, it gives the number two, can we put that back? I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Okay, I'm sorry. So put the 2 back in there.
And then, when it comes to the athletic, so I have some things for you for us to talk about. In '23, a, principal was, is at a high school. We got an email that says is having problems taking tickets at sporting events. There may be others that we have not heard about, but but sure hope not. LCA has brought this to your attention many times in bargaining, which is why we asked for curriculum base to be added in the language. Final agreement was adding fundraising events at the terminology. High schools may ask for teachers to volunteer to take tickets, but teachers should be required to take them. Teachers should. It's supposed to be not. In one statement, so they actually, it was brought up in from my understanding, it was put in a faculty meeting that they had to pick. So this was sent to, Farnsworth, and he replied, I will check on the situation with the principal and get back with you. And I have too many papers. Amen. So on June 28th, Chad Farnsworth, in bargaining notes, in his, notes from June 28th, from, LCS bargaining notes. There's a YouTube video and it says it's section A2. Chad says, we rejected changing it from 3 to 2 evening weekend activities. We do have some plans that may give some improvement in those areas. It involves employees outside of instructional. It covers things like ticket taking. I know they want to be at the academic events, orientation, curriculum night, parent nights, etc. for the kids. I want time to work with our other units to see how we can reduce some of the activities for instructional. I think we can have some solutions, but it is too early for me to put language on how that will be limited. Many of our schools have already found ways to limit that, especially through COVID. As schools open up and we are allowing people on campuses and doing more things, there's a sense of anxiety of letting things go yet. We want to make sure we provide support for the things we are doing for the kids. Now, this was in 22, and we still are having the same conversations, and that nothing has changed. Some schools have found alternative ways to ask teachers to do tickets, and which can lead to inequity across the district. We have some that are paying their teachers to do it. We have others that are, you work so many ticket events, then you can get the workday off. When we have other schools that are giving their teachers where they don't have to come in on the workday. So there's a lot of inequity going on. Fundraising should not be done, or sporting events teachers should not be required to do those. They have boosters. They should be getting volunteers from their boosters to do that, or being willing to pay them $20 an hour to do it. If you pay them $20 an hour, they would do it. Most of the high school, actually, I would believe most of the high schools can afford the $20 to pay theirs for taking tickets. And for the ones that they can't afford it for every event, that's where you get volunteers for the community, the boosters, parents to help out. We should not be putting that burden on our teachers. But some schools also, they comp time hour for hour. However, I don't know about other teachers, but I know that when I've been in positions where they've done the comp time for hour, especially if you're working in the regular classroom, when can you take it? You can only take it when you don't have students. So that limits when you can take it. So we need to do something, and this has been an ongoing fight for a long time. We're asking our teachers to do more. We have an A district, we're giving them barely any raise is what you're offering. We have to do something.
Increase class size, to increase workload. Compensation doesn't reflect the increased workload. I mean, this is something that could alleviate something off the teacher.
Yeah, but we can talk budget all day long. You all know that we only got 0.7 on BSA, but well, well, all I can tell you is at this time, I cannot accept it. I can go back and review it and meet with Mr. Farnsworth regarding athletics and their budgets at each high school and see, or middle schools, all the schools that have athletics, and then decide if that's even feasible. But I cannot accept that language at this time.
But for such instructional staff will be trained to handle money, that needs to be put in there because the money for regular handling money training is different than what you do for athletics. It's totally different. There's different procedures in place, what they do, and they need to be trained on that. They shouldn't be just handed, the money thing and said, here's your tickets and not have been trained on it.
Okay.
That is putting our teachers at risk.
I understand. I hear you. And at this time, I cannot accept the language, but I can come back. And if that's what you wish, and I'm gonna discuss that with Mr. Farnsworth.
That was it in that one. Okay. Oh, no, that wasn't, I forgot, no, that's green. Green. That's supposed to be green, I'm sorry. Page 7 is supposed to be green.
Page 6.
Page 6, page 6 and 7. There's a bunch of below D is green. Except for D, so,
Hold on.
so on page 7, all right, let's go to page 7.
Okay, so
Page 6, everything should be green.
Everything should be green on 6.
on page 6.
B on page 7 should be green, except,
Okay, but hold on, because you added student supervision and we had rejected student supervision.
sorry about that. So the student supervision, if they are covering the student supervision during their planning, that should be included because they should not be having to supervise students during their planning. So if they are having student supervision during their planning, it should be counted as, using their planning.
Like they have to do class coverage. I called you on your planning to cover class.
Or it could be that there was a pep rally called or something like that, and that you're asked to, cover that during your planning. That would be student supervision.
Yeah, taking it out.
What was the reasoning for taking it out?
I think it was that whole flexibility of the example that you made. I think it was just, it's hard to guarantee or protect if I have, let's say a pep rally and you miss your planning time. I think most schools try to give that back. I don't know if it is 100% that it happens every time. I don't know. I do know some schools do try to flip, right? Same thing with testing. Some schools do a great job of flipping that. Testing is very difficult because most want to test in the morning.
But if they're doing that, then they should be able to get that time back on a Wednesday. If they're having to cover a pep rally during their planning, which most of the places I've been, they just do a modified schedule. They
Yeah.
fill out all their classes all day, for pep, when they have pep rallies. They do like a Wednesday schedule and do the end of
Right.
the day. Or they do it during their, extra intervention day time, when they have 4 days.
Can you make that happen? I mean, most of you, same thing with elementary.
Dr. Seuss?
Specific about what it is.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Is that something
I
that's,
need way more time.
is that something that you see?
But got to hold you every minute.
Yeah. It would impact more middle or high school, not
I
elementary.
don't wanna say yes to that. I think.
I think their language is that they feel like they probably give more time back to teachers on different opportunities. That may or may not be true, but I think the ones that are sitting here may happen. How about give us I mean, we crossed it out earlier, so we'll say no now, but we'll see if we can't meet with other leaders and say what.
I have to come back for other language already, so student supervision.
Testing.
Okay,
These teachers should be struck out.
Yeah.
And, that was just the, this is-
Teachers and instructional staff. Employees.
so A and, B was the original language.
correct.
Okay, except that, within 2 weeks or a mutually agreed upon time. So it was added, so the second planning period is required in a week. Then they have to be given equal amount of time for individual planning on early release Wednesdays within 2 weeks. Or at a mutually agreed upon time. And then for C, if the third or fourth planning period in a week is required, such employees must be paid for planning period outside of established work hours. If not if or when necessary, instructional employees will work with the payroll designee at the school to report and submit the necessary form for special compensation. And then we added D back in. If a teacher is missing 4 planning periods in a week, and even if it includes IEPs, parent conferences, any of that, they should be getting compensated for some of that time. Because that is a lot of time taken away from them to be able to do their planning. That means that they're having to do it on their own time and not, they need to have something for that.
And it's not like that's necessarily happening as much all year. Cause as we know, there are certain times of the year where more of those meetings are happening. And then later in the year, there's still meetings, but it's less overwhelming.
I think one of the things too for us to think about when we are stepping on that planning period frequently, is the message that we're sending to teachers. We have a lot of teachers who are just learning how to be teachers. And if we keep stepping on that planning time without honoring it in some way,
we are giving the message that planning isn't that important. And, or you can just do it whenever, just like when we're talking about student supervision. You can't plan when you have a group of students in front of you. You have to pay attention to what they're doing. I mean, I've taught all grades and I don't have too many classes that I don't have to at least look up and make sure they're on task or, not destroying something when I'm not looking. So we have to value that planning time. And this is one of the ways that we show that we value it, is that we give it back.
So the other thing is we were getting comments from people like the LCEA bargaining unit wants to make it more difficult for teachers. These are comments from, our bargaining unit. So we need to show them that that's not the case. That you guys respect and care and want to do what's best for them as much as you want for the kid.
This discussion is a really good example of how much teachers have to do outside of standing in front of their students and giving instruction.
Mhm.
And that's already in there.
No, that was me adding, I added that.
Yeah, I know.
Added that, but the original, so we said it should have a third.
Yeah, this will have done.
We're gonna have to, yeah, we're gonna.
So too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we'll take a look. I guess my question would be, I'd rather say if it's happening places, I'd rather know about it to see if we can help support. But that's something that we'll talk about. And we've already struck through that part of it originally.
To have something in the contract that shows that this shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
Because if we don't,
Well, I think we
we're
do
just
like
taking it
in,
aside.
in B, we'd say that in B, in 3 and 4. So,
But now you're talking about adding into these meetings.
Yeah.
These meetings,
Yep.
In our contract right now are sort of,
Yeah.
special events
Right.
that can't be touched by
Yeah.
anything.
I know, but I think some of these are required by statute that I have to sit in IEP. Some of those are required,
Correct.
right? So,
They are required, but,
yeah,
The custodian works overtime, I think they're compensated if they work a night in there. So, I mean, if you're requiring a teacher to sit through 4 parent conferences a week, I think giving them 1 hour of pay to make up for that is.
yeah, and again, I hope that's not what we're doing to teachers, but
Correct.
I hear you.
and then by putting it, you would know where it's happening because you would be getting the training data.
Yeah.
And then then you guys would have a clear agenda, a clear knowledge of exactly where it's happening and to whom, so you can address it.
I guess we're not in agreement and we're gonna have to come back. We're gonna have to review that language and see where it's happening. Because before we can even consider this language, I would like to talk to some leaders and find out where this is happening. What teachers are missing for planning periods. So,
Because they're not in charge of the parent conference meetings, they're not in charge of those meetings, so they might not even realize it's happening.
So, I mean, I can tell you from our school, we try to rotate the best that we can in our ESE department. We'll just say ESE for the moment. When we're thinking about parent meetings and those times, we try to rotate around the best that we can. I mean, I can tell you right now, I don't have 4 planned periods being used a week by teachers with meetings. So I would hear it if I did. I understand that. That's a lot. I agree with you on that one. But where is it?
The, language under G was supposed to be crossed out because it overrides these.
yeah, originally we crossed out D and kept the language underneath. So what you're saying is add D and cross out the bottom.
But you would agree teachers are expected to attend. I mean, because those are required, right? So I don't know why I'm trying to, I don't know why I'm crossing it out, I guess, that's right, so,
They're expected to.
yeah, yeah,
It hasn't been key, but it says we could then.
yeah.
So page 8. Instructional employees with more than 3 preps will be given rationale for the assignments in writing. We changed it from justification, we changed this from justification to rationale. I forgot to talk about justification, I took it out, sorry. It was new then. Well, yeah, it was new language, so I just, but I haven't seen it, so.
Page 8.
Page 8.
We discussed that. That was the.
It's
Yeah,
more if
suggestion.
they're teaching different, like, it's not biology on the honors as much as if they're teaching biology, chemistry, and environmental science.
I remember adding that sentence and accepting it without not in writing. It could be a conversation that the principal could have a meeting. So I accepted it. Instructional employees with more than 3 preps will be given rationale for the assignments, period. Not that in writing.
But he had it was crossed out in the one that you gave me.
I don't have in writing on the original document at all.
Let's cross out that whole.
Correct. Because I don't mind the principal's meeting with somebody that they schedule a meeting and then, hey, come see me, I need to do, and then have that conversation. It doesn't need to be in writing. Yeah. Yeah. What's the purpose for the writing?
Proof that the conversations.
Someone says that I wasn't told. They have, well, yeah, you were, this is in writing. It could be if you have the discussion in person, just do a follow-up email. And say, hey, we don't forget, or this is what we talked about. We do that all the time with different meetings.
I'm good, just period after assignment. Same thing.
I'm good with it without the in writing.
And I mean, at least for the record here, we're not considering honors different than standard. Like the example you gave is what I'm teaching English 1, 2, and 3. Right? And we understand smaller schools sometimes have a bigger need for multiple preps, right? So I know coming from that.
The access teachers get that too.
Right,
The
yeah,
high school where
yeah,
like a teacher
true.
might be teaching like 2 or 3
Yeah, right.
courses.
Yeah. Or everything at the elementary, everything, right? I know, yeah.
So what page?
Okay. Regarding student supervision,
Mhm.
If we're understanding correctly, if we agree to the language that you're crossing, this would, taking out, that would be new precedent. Because student supervision has been treated like covering a class or splitting a class in a school to be considered as taking a plain period. So by taking out student supervision, denying that, you're setting a new precedent that that's not the case. So we don't accept taking that out. By not agreeing to student, that's what the expectation is right now. With students, supervision. So by taking that out, you're setting a new precedent, and but if you guys want to take that out, that's not acceptable.
What? No, that's a different. Yeah. That's what we,
This was original.
that's what we did last time. That's what we did last time. Original language is that. There's some.
Who's looking for like what was original language?
Yeah. It's original language.
Yeah, so it's not in this. is it?
No,
Provision of sub-coverage meter schedule.
yeah.
Student supervision too. Self-coverage. Also saying there's 3 things in there. So now I fall on that. Students in
We're gonna have to come back.
all of them. School.
Okay, we're gonna have to come back on this one. So what's next on this one? It's page 7. Everything else is green. We were on page 8. We accepted without the in writing. And that was it. Okay. Seventeen. Yeah, no.
For 17. For the transfers, we accepted everything except for if you go to, oh, this is the last, I forgot page number, sorry.
It's back to that same
Section
conversation.
6, yeah.
The conversation regarding. So we had a discussion regarding that, so. This only applies when we are doing an opening, a closing, or redistricting, meaning changing zones, correct? So the way the sentence reads, I just want to make sure that I'm clear. If this redistribution occurs within 20 days of the transfer period, all affected employees should receive a written notice of reappointment status prior to redistribution. So you want me to communicate with them again, whether they were reappointed or not reappointed?
And school A and school B will be losing a bunch of students to school C.
Mhm.
So you're gonna be losing a bunch of teachers, and they open up, applications for school C 20 days before, within 20 days before transfer period. Then you tell those employees in school A and B whether they are gonna be reappointed or not, so that they know that if they're not gonna be reappointed, then they need to, that they might wanna apply. Because they could be holding out, thinking that they wanna stay where they are, not knowing that they're not gonna be getting rehired to begin with. And it's only within 20 days of the transfer period.
I don't have an issue. When we discussed it, we looked at all those possibilities. We were thinking of just giving them a week, which is 5 days, 5 working days. And we will accept the language with that.
So you're not gonna open up the application till 5 working days for the transfer period? That's the point. Because it happened like a month or like several weeks before the transfer period, when they opened up the, application for that new school.
I have a question, just because the way it was written, it says will be given written notice. So you're referencing the actual application. I think I was assuming you were
Yeah.
meaning notifying the teachers.
What I'm saying is if you open up an application for the new school and it happens with, for, you guys are opening up just to those schools that affects. If that application process opens up 20 days before the transfer period, you will let those teachers know if they're gonna be reappointed or not, so they know if they need to apply. And the reappointment is supposed to be done in written notice anyway.
See that?
And the reason we use the transfer period is because reappointment is supposed to be told before transfer period. You can't tell me that 20 days before transfer period, that the principals don't know who they plan on rehiring and not. For the
I'll be honest,
requirement.
when we closed the school, everybody got reappointed. So I'm trying to figure out where this was a mistake. When we when we closed the school, when we distribute to close the school, everybody, when we looked at it, everybody got a job.
Talking about when you open a school and some of the teachers are going to that school. You're not, you're adding a new school to the district. So like when, the Horizon, Mineola Horizon. And, that happened at Windy Hill. We have some teachers were not told reappointment before they needed to apply at the Mineola Horizon. And were told they needed to make the best decision for their family. But then if they didn't get reappointed at Windy Hill, they lost the opportunity to apply at, the Horizon. So we're asking that they just get told, but I don't understand what the issue with this is. I really don't. I mean, be honest, how long before reappointments, do you guys know we are reappointing, most of your teachers? There might be some
20
exceptions.
days after. So you want me to reappoint in March? Because we start in April, right?
Yeah, that was the
I'm
issue.
looking at the dates.
I think other than just reappointing, there are a lot of allocations, there are a lot more calculations that are done with the rosters. So I was trying to figure out how far we can move. There are like 20 steps before that happens. We only have not even maybe 4 weeks before that actual timeline. I was trying to figure out how far I can move up without moving everything so far up where we wouldn't actually know. I think that's where I was, but I was just assuming it was in relation to the communication of credit, so.
So you want me 20 days? It's like saying 20 days is like almost a month prior to transfer period. It's,
I don't even think we have information for allocations for that until like the end of February.
correct. So in March, you have the spring break.
That you're using. I'm not saying for the whole, you wouldn't be needed for the whole district, I'm asking is for those specific schools. It's not for
Yes.
the whole
Oh,
district.
yeah, and I totally get what you're saying. I understand they were very difficult conversations. The problem is we didn't just do that for one school. The entire district is moving along a reappointment timeline. And it's all based off of calculations that are done not even until the end of maybe February.
We have the allocation committee, we have meetings, for allocations.
We don't have
That's why I was trying to figure out how far ahead. I agree with you. I looked at last year and I was like, yeah, that wasn't a lot of time. So, but 5 days was all I could think we can move, give them more of a week's notice prior to transfer period without moving the entire process, which is, like I said, it's a lot more involved. There's rosters checking, there's calculations that are done. but it's all based off information that we don't even get until maybe the end of February.
So my question is how, when you're opening a new school and you have two schools being affected by it, or whatever, however many is being affected by it, how long, or don't, before that new school can start applying, they need to know some of their allocations, right? So they can open that up. Wouldn't the, principals know what allocations approximately they're losing for that new school to be open? I mean,
When we open Mineola Horizons, they get a set number of allocations. And then as the principal communicates with families and they get more people coming in, it's a moving target. So we don't start off all that Mineola Horizons is gonna be 1,200 students. We start off with a projection of, let's say, 750. And then as communication comes in from families, oh no, we're attending the school, then we start moving allocations over. So it's a moving number. For me to tell you that they have all the allocations set.
5 days, but then you don't advertise for that new school until the 5 days before transfer period. So that because it's only being open to those teachers. So once they are able to be notified, that's when you open up the, applications.
So the special board posting is posted for the schools affected, always. So,
You mean, some teachers, they roll the dice, like, I don't know what's happening, do I apply? Some people just said, I'm gonna apply, some people waited. I will say, like Guido said, what did end up happening was they did end up having more allocations.
Yeah.
Some people that weren't reappointed did actually get an opportunity after it happened, because
Correct.
we ended up having more. It's trying to formalize something that's like kind of moving. But, okay, so your proposal is that then essentially, even if you open up the posting for the new school early, it stays open until those teachers are notified.
And it's only for those schools until after they have a chance to apply. And will be the 5 days before, 5 days before transfer period.
so are you gonna add language to this to state that, or do you want us to add language to state that? Okay,
What do you call it? What kind of? You said special posting. Special posting.
we typically call it, it refers to, there's an instance. I don't think the language is here because we call it a special because it's something different. It's not something that we deal with all the time. Yeah, now, do you have any other questions on that, or is pretty much we can? All right, let us work with, if you come up with some language, send that over to us and we'll come up with some and figure out something to write there. To that.
Yeah, I think we just call it special job posting.
Yeah,
We accepted everything until we get to page 8, and I have a question. We didn't cross it out, but I have a question. If I want to make sure that I understand this correctly, by putting in, if such position available, it means that if it's not available at the school, then they are guaranteed a job in the district.
yeah, an instructional position. Like, for example, somebody, I think I have the example that I gave. It was fifth grade position. A fifth grade teacher leaves, comes back, but that fifth grade position is not available, but there's a third grade position at the same school. That will be a different position, but they have the same school. If I don't have any at the same school, I'm still gonna give an instructional position basically near. I try to always place based on home address, close to where they're at. And it's based on the certification. So they were teaching elementary, it'll be an elementary position.
The 12 months it says contract year. So if a teacher goes on leave in January, personal leave, they have until January of the next year.
Yeah, I believe it's 1 year leave, because if it's an FMLA approved leave, that's how it is, it's 1 year. I can double check that to make sure, but I believe it's 1 year.
If somebody was on, okay, so we've been talking about a situation, we've had a couple conversations about a teacher working as a temporary position.
Okay.
You remember what I'm talking about?
No,
Art,
no,
insurance.
okay, that I remember.
She was just notified that the teacher is not coming back. And it was started January last year and it would end January of this year, would be the year. And the concern, what my question is they're not guaranteed a job, that the teacher that was on leave is not guaranteed a job after January, because that would be a year.
Correct.
So my next question is that teacher would be transferred over from a temporary position to a permanent position, because she'll be in there for the whole year. She started in August.
Correct, if that's the person that, if I will have to just confirm with the principal, if that's the person she wants to hire permanently in that position, yes. I will convert that temporary assignment to a regular assignment. She still qualifies for benefits, because if she's working longer than I think it was because her leave ended right before the break. But if it's gonna be extended, she automatically qualifies for benefits.
Okay, so because she was always told December, so, the employee was always told December.
Because
So,
we go by the date on file by the employee on the leave.
I'm just telling you
so,
what she was told.
okay.
So,
But I know that she had benefits, so she qualified for benefits. She's staying, she's gonna qualify for benefits. As for the assignment being not temporary, HR needs to confirm, we need to confirm with her, with the principal, is this the person that you wanna keep in that position role, so that we can do the assignment change, that's all. Ask me about that tomorrow, because that's it. Yeah, I know the school, so we can check on that. Our teacher, I know which school. We're talking about an elementary school, correct? This person was in elementary school, okay. They know, I know, yeah, I further know, talking to benefits, Marisol informed me how it applies, how benefits are when it comes to full-time employment. Okay, so I know.
And, my next question on this is, if a instructional staff is going, FMLA for, 6 months, can the district, advertise for that position and not say it's a temporary position under FMLA?
And not say,
Yes,
Do they
not
have to
advertise that it's a
basically-
temporary position.
Have to say it's temporary.
if we have a permanent person, we typically advertise as temporary.
Okay.
Do we have to? No, we don't, there's no rule that says we don't have to. Is that what you're asking?
Advertise for a position for someone that's on FMLA as a permit and not say it's temporary when the person might even come back.
My only concern with that would be hiring somebody under false pretenses. They know that I'm gonna let them go in 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. So that would be,
So that person LA will,
he still has.
That.
Correct, for an instructional, for the teacher basic instructional position within that school site, yes.
okay, so the next thing is bereavement.
And I wanna be clear, you said because they're under FMLA protection, correct? Okay,
Okay, bereavement. That we,
okay,
that father, stepmother, and stepchild.
okay, so I discussed this with employee relations and all that. And yes, to confirm, they have denied some step families and all that, so.
Is it enough for you? It says, I was just informed upon my stepmother's death that in October, there was a policy change regarding step parents being considered immediately family for bereavement pay. They're no longer considered immediate family, and then for bereavement pay is not granted to employees. The employee who sent it to her, it actually says, this is a new policy that began October 23, and your request is one of the reasons why changes are going to be considered. Unfortunately, that does not mean that at this time I would not be able to approve your request. I know that this doesn't help you now, but I hope that moving forward, that policy can change because of people like you who spoke up. And this is someone from HR. Or, I'm sorry, from employee relations.
Okay.
And I have a copy of that for you.
Okay, yes, please give me a copy of that. And regarding accepting stepfather, stepmother, stepchild, we're not accepting stepfather, stepmother. The only ones that we would accept if they live, they will qualify if they're a member of their own household.
But they're adults.
I understand, we're not accepting adding cost to it, so.
What cost is it? How do you decide this stuff?
I want you to know that I would, no questions asked, if I had any ability, I would leave immediately for that. And then what's the thought? Well, we said we only had an estimate, then you gotta pay to hire somebody else. And not to mention have a classroom that has a substitute in it. You know, it could be a third grade classroom, fourth grade classroom, fifth grade classroom for like a quarter of the year. It's not one, it's awesome. Perfect. I would never work for, I don't mean you individually, but I would never work for you again.
What you're saying is that with my son, who is my stepson, who's 19 years old, but does not live with me at the moment, if he died, I would not get bereavement for that. That is unacceptable. That is absolutely, that's an insult to teachers for a sub, a cost of a sub.
I understand.
It also reflects the families in our district. How many of our students are being raised by step parents? And by saying to your teachers, it's not acceptable, you're not even welcoming the families that we have.
Well, they do then have a lesser status. We have a lesser status by law or by.
And what the policy change was adding bereavement. There wasn't a policy before. It was just adding bereavement, period. So there was no policy change. But I mean, there was a policy change, but it was just adding the bereavement. But the other thing I don't understand is when we first started talking about bereavement, you specifically said you follow FMLA's definition. And that is included in FMLA's definition.
All right, I was mistaken with that statement. So I understand, I was mistaken with that statement. But we're not changing the bereavement leave. Current practice that we have, we're not changing the definition, we're not expanding it. So I understand all you're saying, and I'm not gonna get into a debate about it, so.
doesn't seem supportive, I'm just gonna say, it doesn't seem supportive of a lot of the families that aren't your typical nuclear family. I get that we're not in a place where we're willing to embrace grandparents and aunts and uncles raising people and being the person that you get to use your bereavement leave for. But I feel like it's a disservice if someone was raised by a step parent, that when that parent dies, they can't take bereavement leave. I think it's a disservice and I think it doesn't show support of your employees. Cause then if somebody is being like forced to use their sick leave or whatever to not be there because they can't cope, or they feel like they're not entitled to not stay home, so they go to work, but they're not in a good space because they're grieving and their heart is broken. It's not supportive.
Or they come to work and what kind of job do you think they're gonna do? Yeah, you know, if their stepson died.
And you gotta remember that the teachers are, I mean, we're an A district because of the teachers. And you guys are doing everything, you guys aren't willing to increase, compensation. You guys are, these are little things that wouldn't, when you're talking about cost for a sub.
Okay.
Appendix is still screen. We're not, I'm waiting this, yeah.
We're waiting on this getting something.
What? Here's 50 column, do you have, that's more than 20 instruction.
So we crossed out the top part only because we moved that. And we moved them to the spots that we talked about.
Okay.
So if you, go to page. Wait a minute, what is that? Oh, because,
You cropped that out also on the other side.
because there was a spot where it talked about club sponsors and great department chairs and team leads, we put them all together in one spot.
Okay, so what, on page what? Got it, I see it.
Go that far.
Okay.
So we added the two department, or the district departments with more than 20 instructional employees. Because we're talking about two departments.
Yeah, I was wondering who
ESC,
ESC's one is.
Services. And, so that's what, $1,000? Not even $1,000? And, so are there mentors right now in, itinerant positions like social workers, school psychologists, getting paid to mentor, oh, that's an intern.
That's an intern.
The teen experts.
I will have to go look to see who has,
If it's site-based, chances are they're not, because
They're
they're
not,
not
yeah.
there regularly. And they should have the same, they should have someone with the expertise to help them, to guide them on how to do it, because it's totally different when you are, in those positions and how it would look than if you are in a regular classroom.
Also, some of the
And-
positions, you look at the evaluation, their evaluation data is not in the same trend as the rest of the district's evaluation data in terms of percent highly effective versus ineffective.
so this is ESC and
Student service.
And if you look at social, for instance, social workers, that Patrick is talking about, they are consistently being rated effective. And that is far below the average across the district for any other, category. The social workers and the psychiatrists. They need to have someone who can help them bring that up. Who knows what their workload is like, what they can do to bring those.
so you want one of them so one instructional person in ESC and one in student services to receive the team expert supplement.
Yes.
Okay. I accept the language.
Okay, agree or?
I agree with that language.
Um. Okay, so with the site mentor, or with the, mentors. Right now, in the contract, it says 2 periods per week. We are saying 2 hours per month, because if you do 2 periods per week, that's $6 a period or $8.50 an hour. That's less than minimum wage. And, if we do 2 hours a month, and they can divide it up how they want, if it's they can do half an hour a week, and that's fine, that would be $23 an hour. Which is more manageable, and that's. And we added, you crossed out, the first bullet, we added it back in because that was already part of the language, it was just added in the paragraph above it.
I crossed out the language. Just. Give me 1 second. Correct. Yeah, correct.
So we don't accept it being crossed out.
Correct. No, it's on the original language. The site-based mentor should have successfully completed the peer mentoring online course or equivalent. So you're just putting it in as a bullet instead of the paragraph, correct? I accept the language there. Now, the 2 hours per month. I just want to get feedback from my principals. You know your team experts at your site.
Your mentor.
Mentors, sorry, you know site-based mentors at your site. Are they providing, I mean, that's something feasible? I don't know how much mentoring, because typically the mentors goes with a category 1A. That all depends how many category 1As. Have you received any feedback from your mentors?
2 hours a month, as it requires it, if they're gonna really help. This is minimum, so.
And it depends on the mentors, because if they're, some of them are considered, on the list for meeting a mentor, but they've had years of experience as just new to our county. Or they're new from one, school level to another school level.
Yes.
And if they're, I mean, if you look at the, data, I mean, I'm not disagreeing that they need mentoring, because our 0 to 3 years, especially 1 to 3 years, we're losing them faster than any of the other, groups.
Okay.
But.
So I
we
guess-
also need to make it instructional staff.
So my question goes along with the MOU.
The MOU, I have that ready for you.
Can I come back to this when I know what's happening with the MOU? This is, we're gonna have support on the other side, right? Okay,
So, we added that's the thing, it's what you already agreed to, but I moved it to, page 5, under the clubs and department chairs. It's that same language.
it's the same language that was there.
And the team expert and site-based mentor was crossed out because it was added under the, well, it's under the site. No, I forgot. The site-based mentor amount should be under the site-based mentor.
So you put it, supposed to be by the title of the supplement. Is that what you're saying? Okay,
Like it is under the team expert.
also put it site-based mentor stipend amount, what it is. Okay,
Meetings must include both in-classroom support and one-on-one conferences. In-classroom support, most of the mentors can't do that because they use classes. So how can they go in during the other ones to do that? That should be your coaches helping in that in those senses, in that instance.
what's your thoughts on that?
I would like it as an example, they could, if I had the same planning period, I might be able to work in that time. Like it's if, right? No, why not?
How about the word instead of must?
No.
How about the word instead of must? Meetings may include both in class support and,
Right, may, right, yeah,
okay?
right.
That
And-
would,
and- yes.
because there might be,
Yes, right, yeah. I didn't want to limit that, they couldn't do that, right? But
So-
unless they are required, no.
no, so how about meetings may include both in,
Right. And I would I'm going back to when you said that, I'm thinking mentor's not doing it for $460.
No.
They're doing it because they love instruction, they want to support.
Yeah.
So when you shook your head, I'm like, yeah, I get you.
because there are some mentors that are typically the coaches, so they have the opportunity to be able to do that already. No, not coaches, sorry. They're, let me rephrase that. It could be it could be a classroom teacher. They can choose during the, yeah, okay, may will be better.
Okay, page 5 is all the same language as we have today.
Which one?
where it says it's crossed out on teacher, but it was red, it should be green.
What page? Oh, green, yeah. Got it.
That's, yeah, well, no, I did it. Did you move it? That's what I said. Yeah, right. Okay, the next change is the last page. So, there is only 2 schools with 400, more than 400 ESD, classes, or students, I'm sorry, students. From the data you sent me, that's $1,000. And then for those schools with over 2,000 school, or 2,000 students for high schools, that's only 3 schools. That's $1,500. That's a lot of extra work for those, testing coordinators and those ESE specialists. I mean, you think about 400 students, and there's only 180 days of school. And you gotta take out about 10 because of other things going on and stuff. That's 100, you're looking at 170 days. You have to do an average of 2 to 3 a day. Plus you have to prepare and everything else. That's a lot for an ESE specialist.
So you're talking about. Do we have schools with more than one ESC2 specialist? Because I believe we do. 1.5.
1.5.
There's some that have,
High school, like East Ridge High School, I think. It's split, don't they?
so
I was under the impression they got rid of that and we had 1.5 for when they got rid of it.
Oh, okay, I don't know. I've seen it.
Here with the ESE person.
Oh,
I'm looking,
High school.
just give me 1 second.
I stay in my middle school lane. Sorry.
I still think we got half.
No longer.
No, we got schools with more than one. Yep. Our radio call has 1.5. Mhm. You get the staff, you get the data on the staffing. It's the same data. You have the. Correct. If they're Title I, they can use dollars, however they. Lake Hills,
They don't even
Lake Hills. Well, Lake Hills is different because Lake Hills, that's all they have.
Okay, so we'll say if there's, all ESC, if there's only one ESC specialist with, at a school with over 400 ESC teachers. Arrail Cole doesn't even have 400 kids. For that are ESC, according to the data you sent me. So it's kind of crazy how elementary school, with less than that has the, half allocation, but when you have high schools that don't, that have 400. You have Lake Mineola that has 429. 436 at East Ridge. And neither one of those have, 400, don't have the half.
Right, I have. Again. I was just looking because I remember last year there were multiple schools that had half, so.
What are we, with $500, that's a lot less than a half of the FTE.
Or half of the salary.
Yeah.
All right, I'll come back with an answer on that. And then the high school testing coordinator,
So that one only has, that you have, in schools with over 2,000, high schools, or 3 high school students, only 3 high schools. That's 15, we're looking at $1,500. Because that's a lot of extra work for 2,000 students, 2,000 plus students versus 8, 9, 1,000 students, 1,500 students.
Because it's not just scheduling, right, the one testing day, it's all of the makeup days, the dual enrollment days.
but they're the only schools that have an actual person doing that job.
All the high schools have a testing coordinator, but it's still a lot more students to deal with. And with all those tests, when you're talking 2,000, over 2,000 students versus a $1,500 or 1,500 student school. That's a lot, especially when they have to keep remaking up tests to be able to meet that benchmark of 95%, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me go ahead and get back to you on that too. You only have 400 ESC 1, 2, 2 schools, right?
Yep, 2 schools. And then the next closest school is at 350 or 348.
348.
So it's still a good
Yeah.
amount of students away.
All right. Can we do the MOU so I'll know?
Jessica, can you add it in on agenda, please? I didn't realize you didn't have that.
We gotta put it.
Okay, so, the first thing we did was cross out the, or until available funds designated to the school board, school-based peer teacher mentor program are exhausted, whichever occurs first. And the reason we cross that out is because you already know how much and how many mentors you can have. And they're not getting paid until the end of the school year. So if we wanted to make sure that you already know there, you have the limit, there's no, if they, until money runs out, because there's, you guys already have that set. You already know what you're gonna do, and we don't want it to be, it's not like the by hourly. Where,
I understand what you're saying.
we also changed it to site-based, just because we are using site-based in the contract,
Okay,
okay?
Yes.
And we added, or we agreed with the, and hold a professional teaching certificate. At the bottom, we, agree with mentors will sign a mentor agreement indicating they understand and accept their role and responsibilities. We also added mentors will receive an email notification once their member agreement has been approved by professional learning department. Mentoring will not begin until approval is confirmed, and this delay will not impact the total stipend amount. And this was to prevent someone starting the mentoring and not being approved. So then they end up not, if they're not approved, they're not getting paid. So we didn't want that to happen. On the back, We just changed the school to base teacher, peer, and that should be instructional employee mentors, sorry.
Where?
The second bullet on the back,
Mentor instructional employees.
to keep with the same language. It said receive an additional stipend for providing support to teachers new to the profession and have 0 years. You guys put that, we just reframed it, we accepted it. For the 0 years of experience at the start of the year. Mentor instructional employees who meet the qualification are eligible for this stipend once per year. We agreed to that. I had a question on the indicating weekly support in just a second, but we said it says throughout the year from the date of email approval notification.
That was the original amount, right? 500? Okay.
So the average pay last year for this program, the average that the mentors got was $1,077. It's being cut to 500. So my question is, do you think that the mentors that were making $1,077 is going to do this for $500 and do the same amount of work, the same level of work? And they're getting half what they got last year. It's not like it's a new program where we're adding it. They are getting half of it. So my question is, if we lose mentors because of that, what is the county, what's the next step? What is the county going to do to prevent that?
That's a good question. I mean, until we try it, we'll see what happens. But right now, the reason we had that average is because we overspent money regarding site-based mentors. That's why. The way that it was structured, we were way over budget. The site-based mentor was, that particular MOU was based on a given amount by the Ed Foundation for us. So obviously, it was not monitored correctly and we overspent it. So now we're trying to make sure we are proactive with making sure we follow budget. So.
Last year, we had 72% of our employees that did not come back were in their first 0 to 3 years. Out of that, if I remember correctly, it was about 28% were 0 to 1 year. And if we're not putting in the time for them and putting in the funds for them, we're just going to keep losing that. We need to do something. We need to do better for our teachers. And we can't expect our instructional staff to take on more and more and not get paid for it. So I understand why you're only doing the 500. I understand, but I'm saying my concern is what's going to happen in the program if that's all that's being put towards this program. Because if people, that's less than half of what they got last year for the same amount of work. And then the other thing is, you guys see the else. This portion of the MOU supersedes the current time requirement in Appendix D, differentiated pay schedule of the collective bargaining agreement. If you look at the agreement that you're asking them, the instructional staff to sign to do these mentors, they don't go, it isn't consistent with the same expectations that are in the or in the current contract.
I don't have a copy of those.
The contract that they're, that goes with those, yeah.
You wrote it. Do you remember what? I don't.
I can send it to her, she can print it.
I probably can find it, it's just I didn't have it in front of me to look at it again. Yeah. I don't see. I can't find the link for it. I have to look at that same, I can't find it on my.
He's printing it, it's not that much, no, it's a- Okay, this is for the police.
Do you have it?
This was right here.
No, that's the MOU, but there's another thing.
Okay.
You're talking about that side, the contract per se as for their responsibilities. I don't have that file.
It's rated on 222.
That's it. Okay, so what's your, what was,
This, it says weekly check-ins. And even in the contract, the original language wasn't even weekly check-ins. It was 2 periods a week.
well, the whole purpose with this one is different. This one's just correct. This one,
Okay, but my point is on this, you cross out the language that this supersedes our contract. And they don't, and they're saying 2 different things. So which is it? That's what I'm trying to say.
okay, so the only reason that language was stricken out is because this is a separate MOU with funds that are not general fund. So that's why we're treating it separately from the contract.
that it would be different, that would supersede the contract.
So, okay, so what you're saying is we should add it. What's the current time requirement, appendix D? Not to be strike through. It was on the original MOU in the copy that I provided you was the copy from the original MOU language, correct? That we just struck, okay.
Yeah, so I made green anything that we accepted that you changed, and just like we do for our, bargaining language.
So then-
in red if we didn't agree with it, and blue if we added it.
So the new language that you added so far are just a school site, the email notification when the member agreement is approved. Mentor will not begin until that is confirmed, obviously, because we need to make sure they know.
That is,
Correct. And then on the back, the teachers to instructional employees on strike through this bullet with this portion of the MOU supersedes the current time requirement of appendix D. Correct? Then you're adding, this is indicating weekly support.
well, no, you said it said indicating weekly support, it was highlighted, because I questioned about it, that's where I got based. But we changed throughout the year to from the date of email approval notification.
Yeah, I'm writing that down.
Yeah, we're writing that down. You just need to review it, and then if you accept, then we can decide it's.
Yeah, yeah. So are you questioning the weekly, what's in yellow?
No,
So,
she had a question.
oh, right.
Because of that, Heather.
All right, but if we put that language back in, then if you put that language back in, it follows this. What you hand us, right?
You want also, you want the agreement to match the MOU language,
So
basically.
if we put this back in, then we use this agreement as for the MOU.
That's fine.
And, because this doesn't have a time amount on there versus the other one. It says a weekly check-in, but it doesn't indicate that it's gotta be a certain amount of time.
No.
I'm not saying it should.
No, right.
I'm not-
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I think that we should do
This-
something similar to that
And the other,
in the other one, because the other one specifies an amount of time. And I think that's where part of the problem is.
Okay.
Because some people need more than others.
right,
And if you can do 0 euros, then, about that. So I want to reiterate something. If you use the MOU, the return for this, you may or may not, which is it, get the one from the contract. The 460 from the contract.
you mean you might,
You might,
or you may not.
yeah, you may have somebody doing,
Somebody, there might be two different people, is that what you're asking?
yeah,
Your teacher,
Hmm?
shouldn't they be getting that credit for mentoring them also under the contract? I know you might have other ones because they don't fall into less than 1 year or 0 years, zero experience under for the contract portion. But you have, most of the time, you don't have all 0-year contract people there. So my thing is, so you would, what I'm saying is if these two are being mentored by me and they both have, they're both first-year teachers. And then you have Bobby here who would be under the maybe second or third-year teacher that would get it under the contract. I should be the one mentoring all of them to get both of them, so you're giving them more money. Instead of having Patrick mentor these three, well, I'm already mentoring them.
It's more efficient.
It's more efficient of use of time, plus it also gives them more money.
Yeah, and I would think in your scenario, you would mentor these two, and
And-
Patrick would
Men-
mentor Bobby, and you both receive. Do you know what I mean? So more people get money. Mhm. Right,
So for every
Oh, right.
mentor, that's why I use that. as
The three.
example. Because then you can have, if you have that mentor, if you have, only get one, if you only have 3 people to mentor and you only get one, it should be the same person doing it, so that they're getting
Yeah,
that money.
yeah, I know, but then,
Unless they're willing to separate, unless they're willing to split it with somebody.
But at the same time, is the person gonna be able to go into like, it all depends, because we're not limiting.
yeah, I think to your argument, though, that's more work for you to be more effective. It would go to
Correct.
somebody, so, I don't
But
know.
they're still having to mentor all 3, because it's 0 to 3.
Yeah.
So they're still getting it
Yeah,
in.
that's some language that we maybe need to look at. If you're already absorbed by these 2 are being mentored already, then maybe I wouldn't, the only one I would have to do is what's left over.
Okay, but then you. $460
Yeah, then it's different dollars, right,
$500 for 2 people,
right,
because the MOU is 1 to 5.
yeah,
So that's what I'm trying to say, is that needs to be considered, because
Yeah.
When you eliminate the one-to-one aspect, it seems like it's very hard to.
Yeah.
For.
yeah.
who is-
Well, because it's gonna, well, I mean, even to your point, though, from school to school, it's gonna be different too. We can't
Right.
make it,
well, I guess what I'm saying is, it'd be nice if it was, that was something.
it was more aligned.
And
Yeah.
more aligned, because
Yeah.
you shouldn't be, someone should not be getting paid for mentoring one person when there's 3 people.
Yeah.
This as an example, 3
No.
people at the school, and one's getting it for the MOU for these 2, and one's getting it for doing one person.
Yeah.
The 460, when all 3 of them technically fall under the contract for it also.
I mean, I understand your point, but there's, in every case, there's, if you
That's
go
gonna-
back to the testing coordinator at a 900 student high school to 1,800. I mean, there are different workloads, I think. I don't know. I do understand where you're coming from. I think we can look at the numbers to get more aligned. I'm not sure. I mean, I always have to look out the breakdown of every school just to see what does that look like. I know, Dr. Scott put in there where you did, there was 85, I think, 0 to 1.
We identify 80-something teachers that were basically no experience teaching at all. So that's the purpose.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Seven. So you identify 85 currently, but what happens? Hire new people. I mean, if this.
we can't hire any first year.
That's.
Yeah.
No.
So like, if it's based on the 50, if it's based on a set amount, then what is?
That also means that not all of them are gonna be mentored with the same mentor per se, like some of those teachers might be doing fine and they don't need any type of
I'm saying,
mentoring.
well, If you hire.
If we hire
If you
more.
hire 3 more new teachers, brand new education teachers that weren't currently budgeted.
Yeah.
How is that going to be handled? Because if we're saying, if we're locking in the money into those 85 that are current 0 to 1 year, what happens for the new? hires?
Well, if they hired 3 more, like in your example, that would be, they qualify for another site-based mentor.
Wouldn't, so that there would be no more additional.
No, not on the other one, because
Not
that,
in the
not on the MOU, because I only have a set budget for that. Yeah.
This MOU stipends, amounts, people is locked in. like,
Yeah.
It-
it doesn't-
Well, when they get the approval letter. when
They
it
get the
gets
approval
signed,
letter
right.
first.
Yeah.
So,
That's a good point, though.
Yeah, but so someone that starts at the beginning of the year gets mentored, but you start in January when you're.
Well, you're gonna
brand new
get-
Education, you
Right.
probably need even more than someone who starts in,
Right.
you're starting half of the year.
Well-
Guys start half of the year, I probably would need one more walking into the classroom out of college that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Planning over summer here, August 1st is coming out.
Right. But you'd still have a mentor on your campus. It
correct,
just wouldn't be through the MOU, it would be through the contract.
through the contract, that's which is what I was saying. If they hire more than 1, 2, 3, they can qualify for another site-based mentor at the site.
So
So we need to make those changes on the MOU and then we can communicate to get signatures. And then I'll get back to you on the language, the 2 hours. I just need to think it through and then come back to you on the other.
Well, I have, so, can we finish this, this one, I'll have a suggestion.
Okay? You're good as anything. I want that. I do take care of this. Oh. What's my other? Huh? Yeah, I don't know what she's bringing next, so I don't know.
I mean, you, us, LCS.
We already did that.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any additional.
I have a question. So could you put LCS proposals, counter proposals? What do you mean by that? Number 3?
On the agenda.
Oh, it was, I just left it there.
Okay.
I left there because, as part of.
Because we're kind of going through that now. A little bit.
Okay, so
Oh,
with compensation. With the budget, we understand the budget situation. But what is the long-term goal to make wages livable in Lake County schools? And the reason I'm asking this is according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, inflation rose 2.6% from August 24 to 25. The bonus doesn't count in this because it's not a raise. The bonus is a bonus, so this is different. So giving a $400 raise doesn't cut it. That is less than 1% for someone who's making $51,000. That's 0.78% of a raise. For an employee making $51,000, they would need to have a $1,326 $20 pay increase just to make about what they were making last year when you include inflation. Our educators deserve more. They shouldn't have to work 2+ jobs on top of teaching to make ends meet. So with that being said, we want to know what is the plan for the future for Lake County schools to make sure that this is not the routine for our educators, because this is not acceptable. They can't live on this. Not when other counties around us, including Sumter, is making $7,000 more a year.
you are aware of the budget that we have. It's out in the public. I basically informed you of less students this school year, and we're about to be $9 million short. So no, but you're talking about budget, so you're asking for more money when we're putting as much as we can. The only reason it's not recurring is because we are going on a downtrend.
And it means that this is not,
I,
this doesn't continue
It's-
this way.
I do have to ask, from what I understand, we're at 66 out of 67 in, per pupil funding. Can anybody, and that's in the 50th state in terms of
Well, we don't,
compensation. How did this?
but
I mean, clearly the counties around us aren't having the same problems. And I'm not saying it wasn't all the same people over, like, I understand it's an organization, it's not the same human beings all the time, but like 20 years. What has happened? Why is everybody around us beating us in this regard? I mean, like, have we not been, I know that we're doing it now. Have we not been advocating in Tallahassee or doing all these things? I mean, what's different with us compared to everybody around us? And again, everyone except for one other county in the state from what all.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta crack a couple eggs.
okay, so then your proposal is to move it from, what I see here is that the effective bonus to raise it to 600, correct?
Closer to the percentages between highly effective and effective. But it's also, that's a huge difference. And our effective teachers need it just as much as the non-effective or highly effective. And that's, approximately, it's not even, it's just under 120,000. With that increase.
The increase, but so like for the highly effective annual contract, that would be with the TSIA plus bonus, that'd be 1,200. And then the 75% of that would be like the 900, which is usually how we divvy up the highly effective versus effective. So to keep the ratio the same, that's why it's 400 versus 600.
And that is, that gives them the 900. As a total.
Is there a reason why you didn't mark green the TSIA increase? Oh, it was- Well,
But I also want, and you want to put on record that LCS has to find other ways to work on this, to be able to get more money to our teachers.
I will convey your message. Please understand that I cannot answer to this. I have to take this to the board.
Well, we have some TAs here, but we're motivated to try to get this done as quickly as possible. But, so would you be willing to take a caucus and try to get some of this language? Make some phone calls to get some of this language taken care of?
I wouldn't be able to do anything on compensation. So even if I caucus and try to resolve some of the language, I still can't do anything on compensation because I have to get board approval for any type of money. I mean, you know that, I just can't agree to that.
Okay.
As you calculate, it's about $100,000, correct? So it's. Yeah. And that's about what we put for, ain't that what we put for, no, for supplements? No, for the advanced degree? Yeah, 200.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that money, exactly 100 grand. We put that money into advanced degree. So do you have that, are you at, how about the other salary schedules?
Yeah. That was, everything else is TAs.
Okay,
Wow.
so do you wanna? Okay. Budget enrollment, I don't need to update you because we already did that last time. So on line item 5, article outstanding, I owe you answering 9, 11, 17 regarding the special board posting. And now I owe you on compensation, an answer on compensation proposal. Is that correct? And then the MOU language, correct?
Sorry, what?
And then the MOU language. Okay. Well, I will have to get back to you because I have to first get to see when can I schedule a meeting with the board so that I can get back to you. I know we have a workshop on the 15th, tentatively scheduled. And if I can meet with the board on that day, then on an executive session, I will go ahead and let you know so that I can then schedule to get back to you. As I won't be able to answer this without bringing it to the board, so. So if you want me to tentatively schedule a time after that meeting, I can for that week, if you like. The 17th. Right? That's the Wednesday. If I can do something faster, I will call you and let you know, okay?
Or,
At 4. Mm-hmm.
yeah, December 17th at 4.
Yeah, if I can do something faster, I will call you. I just, because I'm gonna have to make some calls and figure this out.
well, I have to, you wanna do the TAT?
Yeah, I mean, so you're agreeing on the other ones. So you're, oh,
Every page of that.
I'm supposed to sign every page, right?
yeah, but we can do the same, we don't have to sign today, we can just sign next time we meet. I just wanted to know if, are we, you didn't show me this one, so I did not know if there was any changes. You agree to everything on this one?
And you guys changed the in the instructional, and then we added the athletic,
Correct.
director and assistant director, so.
Well,
okay,
we have to sign every page, yes.
I can give you a copy now if you want, it's up to you.
No, let's just sign them all together when we're ready to sign them all, it's fine. You can hold them.
So I had so they're listed on there for the agreement.
So we are agreed on B, the schedules, C, the athletic one. Article 4, you accept that we're not removing that language?
For now.
Well, if you're tentatively, I want to make sure that that's what you're accepting because you didn't give me a copy, so I didn't see it. And then Article 12, so if you, okay, so if you provide the files that way, I'll have copies of them.
So,
And-
yeah, we accepted, 12, 4, Appendix C and
B.
B. But with, C, it's under the understanding that we're going to create a, middle school, or not, a middle school team to talk about the,
Well, we'll have to schedule a meeting with Mr. And the AD for the district.
do a team maybe for intervention. And we were thinking that maybe we need to start looking at language separately between elementary and elementary and secondary. Because they're totally different in how they're done and what to look at, so that's something we can talk about as a group. So, are you good with that? I mean, not necessarily.
Good with considering it, yeah.
I mean, having them.
Yes, we'll get together and try to structure what we can do, yes.
Okay,
And, with the ESE, you were looking into subs, have you had a chance to look into that?
no, Mr. Ward just returned this week from his conference, so I have to schedule a meeting with him and they're playing catch up right now, so.
And committee, you said that we can do a superintendent advisory
Yeah.
committee for that, right? Okay.
Well, let us work with her, like, with the superintendent to try to get that. So it might, maybe called superintendent or not, but yeah.
I just want to make sure that we will.
I think we definitely want to talk about how do we work to make that better? Yes.
We want to address the concerns.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. And that's part of the substitute is something that I'm monitoring weekly because I look at the fill rates and what's going on at schools. So I just gotta now see the budget where we are on it. Okay. There. What? Do you want me to repeat it for you, Sasha? And MOU language, MOU because we, okay, perfect. Okay. Then,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
because we can get, that's what we want, that's what we want to do.
The same thing.
We want the same thing so we can get teachers to start doing mentoring. Okay? You wanna, is there something else? So are we good to end for today? All right, it is 6:35. This ends today, LCA bargaining and with LCS. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you. We were supposed to clap.